Hello everybody, welcome back to the Spoke to Wheel YouTube channel. Today we have episode 17 of the Andy Schleck Pro Cyclist playthrough. Today on the menu we have the final 3 stages of the Tour of Bulgaria. I'm particularly excited for stage 4 with that big climb towards the end of the race. I think that will be a great opportunity to try and attack with Andy Schleck and hopefully win the race overall. Stage 3, which will be first up, also pretty hilly. Definitely going to be some action that will impact the general classification. And then the race will finish off with a rather short, flat stage that shouldn't really impact things too much in terms of GC, but should be an opportunity for whatever sprinters are in the race. So let's get straight into it. Ideally, we could maybe even win a stage and win the GC of this race today. We are underway on stage 3 of the Tour of Bulgaria. We're decked out in the Best Young Riders jersey, which is the classification that we currently lead. We're second on GC behind Garcia de Mateos, who beat us in the sprint in that previous stage to take over the overall GC lead. But we're only 4 seconds back, so definitely within striking distance. The team wants us to move into first on GC by the end of the day. There's some serious climbs towards the end here, where that last Cat 3 climb isn't quite in our wheelhouse. It's a little bit more of a punchy climb than a sustained mountain, I would say, but I think we'll probably look to follow moves on that one and then try and stay with the leaders to the finish line to set up really our big move on the next stage. So we made it up over this pair of Category 2 climbs without too much difficulty. The peloton is now down to 39 riders, so a lot of riders couldn't quite handle the pace, but we have one teammate in the group with us, Heidemann, who's hopefully getting us a water bottle right now. And then other than that, we just basically have this final Cat 3 climb to decide the winner of the stage. We're basically on this last climb of the day now. Still a group of 39 riders in the peloton with one rider up ahead in the breakaway. We're maintaining our position, but there's a move from Benta, so we're going to try and respond to that and attack ourselves, and hopefully we'll draw out a little bit of a gap here to other big riders in the race. So right now it's just 5 of us, which is pretty solid. I'm happy with that. Let's stick our instructions on relay, bring it down a little bit to 85 so we don't tire ourselves out too much. But the main peloton of 21 riders is right behind us, so chances are they're going to come back here. Let's respond to this move, or at least follow Benta as he goes on the attack again. We're out of red energy basically, so we're just trying to hang on in this group at the moment. And it looks like we are just going to survive in this group of 5. Tupolik is here. He's a pretty fast sprinter. Aniolkowski, we've found out already this season, is also quick. The peloton has come back, so it's now up to 13 riders in the group as we're about to head on to this descent. I'm just going to come to the front here on 85 effort. It shouldn't be too taxing on the downhill just to keep the pace high here. Bernas looks like he's setting things up. It's a downhill sprint, so we can start a little bit early. We probably could have started even earlier with these turns, but we're into the last 500 meters. Looks like it will be a top 5 for us on the day. We're going to finish 4th with Andy Schleck. I would say that is a deserved result after we made that group of 5 over the last climb. Probably could have done even better if we started our sprint a little bit earlier because we were going downhill, so we didn't use too much energy. But I will take that 4th place result today, and hopefully we can build on it tomorrow with the big climbing that's on the menu. We're into stage 4 in the Tour of Bulgaria. We're once again in the white jersey as the best young rider. We've dropped 1 spot to 3rd on GC. Bernas, who won the stage yesterday, I believe, leapfrogged us and is the new leader. So he's in the yellow jersey. Basically, our plan of attack for the day is really simple. We need to attack on this final Cat 1 climb, probably on that last sustained section there after the flat bit, where it kicks back up into orange and almost red gradients, I guess, and then hopefully whatever gap we get there, we'll be able to hold to the line. There's a couple sections of descending, a couple flatter sections, but hopefully if we get a solid gap, we'll be able to recover on the descent and then hold whatever gap we have all the way to the finish. I think that's our best chance to not only win the stage, but win the race as well, so that's the plan of attack. It's a really long stage today. I think it was 231 kilometers in total, but a lot of it is this flat section in the middle. So hopefully we'll be able to conserve energy a little bit there and be fresh for the final climb, but I think it's basically all going to come down to that if we want to win this race overall. So we're starting this final Cat 1 climb now. Still 16 kilometers to the top, so it's going to be a long ascent. I think basically the two riders that we need to keep an eye out for are Bernas, who is a bit of a bigger sprinter, so I would imagine he won't be too much of a threat on this climb, and then also Garcia de Mateos, who I think is probably going to be our biggest rival for the win on this climb, because he matched us on that earlier stage that he won and we finished second. So I'm expecting to have to keep an eye on him, but ideally no one will be able to go with us when we make our move up towards the top. So we'll see how it goes, though. We're about to get onto the steepest part of the climb, so it's just about time to make our move. We're going to see if we can use our teammate here, Heidemann at all. He's pretty low on energy, but if he can take us to the front at least, that would be very helpful. And he did more or less do that, so I wasn't sure if this guy here was attacking or setting pace. Looks like he's just setting pace. Now he's out of energy, so let's counter it and go on the attack. We have Aniolkowski on our wheel, Benta, a couple riders we've seen before in this race. Let's stick it on 85 effort with 1.8 kilometers to the top. That attack didn't really do as much damage as I had hoped, to be honest with you. This climb was pretty long, but in the end, the actual steep sections were pretty short. But we're going to just stay on the gas, see if we can't get rid of anyone else, although we're going to run out of energy here up at the top. So we're basically just going to have to hang on to this group here on the descent. Group of... Oh, there's a crash. I think that was the rider who was in second place just ahead of us. So very unfortunate for him, but it might actually end up benefiting us as the race goes on. But we got a group of 7 here. I recognize some of these names. Aniolkowski, Balkan are both pretty quick sprinters, so probably not the best chance to win if we're going head-to-head with them, but we're just going to keep riding here on the descent to try and hopefully increase our gap as much as possible. All these guys that are with us are behind us on the general classification, so theoretically if we finish like this with a 36-second gap, we would win the race overall, which is exactly what we're hoping for. So we're just going to keep riding. Sort of levels out here for a while, and it looks like the moves are already starting with the stage win in mind. Stas, Polish rider, kicked things off there with Balkan on his wheel, but things calming down again, so let's go back to the front. I'm hoping we can just survive over this flat section and then try and do something on that downhill section, maybe to go for the stage win. We're heading back onto the downhill again, just outside of 5 kilometers to go. Still a group of 7 altogether, so as things stand, we should be set to move into the overall race lead. So let's just come to the front here and keep the pace high as we head towards the finish. It looks like it levels out slightly and then goes back downhill right to the line. So sprinting from the front is definitely not the worst place to be here, although Aniolkowski has a lot of speed. We're not going to get the stage win. That will go to Aniolkowski, ahead of Stas and Balkan, but we do finish 5th on the day, and hopefully we will move up into 1st on the general classification. So here you have it. We finished 5th on the stage. Aniolkowski took the stage win. It was 7 riders that finished altogether at the front, and then a 32-second gap back to the second group on the road. So that does indeed mean that we have moved into 1st on the general classification. However, it's rather unfortunate that Aniolkowski is sitting 2nd, just 4 seconds back of us, because it kind of seems like we're setting up for a repeat of what happened earlier in the season when Aniolkowski took the GC from us with bonus seconds on the last day of the race. It's only a 4-second gap, so if he wins the stage and we do anything less than finish 2nd, he's going to win the race, unfortunately. But this time around, we should basically have secured at least 2nd place, so not the worst, definitely. Unfortunately, it looks like Vicente Garcia de Mateos crashed out. He was the rider that crashed on the descent, and it looks like he had to withdraw, so that's too bad for him because he looked like the 2nd strongest climber in the race after us, I would say. But yeah, let's head into the final stage now, and we'll hopefully do everything in our power to try and hang on to the yellow jersey. Actually, before we get into the final stage of the video, we've moved into the month of August, which means we've gotten our 65 points for the month, and we've leveled up to level 8. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade our attributes and then use our skill point as well before we play the final stage for the video. So we're definitely going to progress our attributes. We're done upgrading our potential. We've sorted that out already. Let's see what stage racing gives us. It would give us a 78 mountain rating, which is the same as climber. It would boost up our time trial to 60, and it would boost our recovery up to 68. Let's see what our secondary stats look like with climber. Stamina would be a little bit better. The time trial would be 1 worse. That's a tough choice. I think we're going to go with climber here for this upgrade. The +2 to stamina seals the deal for me. We still do get +1 to our time trial rating, so it's not like we don't improve there. But I think at this point in our career, upgrading those secondary stats, stamina, resistance, are really important to try and allow us to win more races in the future. Okay, so for our skill point, we're going to finish off the networking skill. It's not really important at this point in the season because the transfer market has opened now that it's August, but in the future I do want to have all 3 of these skills upgraded. And then next we'll start bumping up our fitness peaks so that we can peak for a 3-week Grand Tour eventually, once we get there. And so now that the transfer window has officially opened, this is where our interest level stands with teams. So Leopard Pro Cycling, the team we're currently riding for, is still the most interested in us. But Kamata Extra Cycling Team is in the green, so that's a good sign. Hopefully they will offer us a contract and we can try and go with that team and try and get promoted up to the Pro Continental ranks. We're into the final stage in the Tour of Bulgaria. We're riding in the yellow jersey as the overall leader of the race. The odds are a little bit stacked against us today because there's no intermediate sprint points to try and pick up bonus seconds, and Aniolkowski is the favorite to win the stage. So we're going to try and hopefully hang on to our yellow jersey, but at this moment in time it looks like Aniolkowski's probably the favorite to take the win. We're heading towards the 5-kilometer to go banner now on the final stage of the Tour of Bulgaria. Aniolkowski here in the green jersey is the rider to watch. We were sitting on his wheel, but we sort of got blocked here a little bit, so kind of looks like we're not going to play too much of a role in the sprint. We're going to have to basically hope that the other sprinters are up for it and they keep Aniolkowski out of the bonus seconds, or we are pretty much going to lose this race. So he's still a couple wheels back as well, so it looks like there's a chance that we'll survive here. but here goes the sprint in the final 5 kilometers. Aniolkowski passing a lot of guys towards the line, but he's not going to finish in the top 3, so he's kept from the bonus seconds. He finished 7th in the end. Balkan, Stas, and Bernas were the riders who finished in the bonus seconds, so theoretically that should mean that we will hang on and win the overall classification at the Tour of Bulgaria. So we're looking at the podium now. Currently the stage winner, Onur Balkan. Next up will be the winner of the GC, so it will be the moment of truth to see whether or not we've won the Tour of Bulgaria here. I think we should have, but you never know. There we go. Andy Schleck is on the podium in the yellow jersey, so we have officially won the Tour of Bulgaria. Second time's the charm, I guess, because the first time we were in that situation, Aniolkowski beat us, but this time around we managed to hang on and win the overall. So apart from winning the overall race by 4 seconds ahead of Aniolkowski, we also finished 3rd in the points classification, 2nd in the KOM classification, and we were the best young rider as well. So very nice results all throughout the different classifications with Andy Schleck. So now that we've wrapped up the Tour of Bulgaria, that's going to be it for the racing in today's video. Up next on the calendar, we have one of the most interesting races of the season, the Tour de l'Avenir, probably the biggest U23 stage race in the world of cycling. The last 2 winners of the Tour de France, Egan Bernal and Tadej Pogacar, have both won this race when they were in the U23s, so it could be a great way to signal our hopes to try and win Grand Tour at some point in our career as well, to go out and win this race. It's done a little bit differently in the game than it is in real life. I think in real life it is raced with the national teams. In the game, we will still be riding for Leopard Pro Cycling for this race. I think we should be the pretty heavy favorites to win this with 78 mountain rating, but we won't know for sure until we get into the first stage and see what other riders are there. But I'm excited for it. 3 different mountain stages in the race, so that'll be a lot of fun just to be in the mountains and be able to climb with Andy Schleck, because that is his best attribute. So I'm looking forward to that one, and that's what we'll be starting in the next episode. We'll probably do the first 3 stages and split it up that way. But thanks for watching the video. I appreciate the support. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you next time.